All right, guys. So if you didn't know, apparently there was a black conservative panel at CPAC that was discussing, I guess, the state of minorities in the conservative movement / Republican Party. Now, guys, admittedly, I am not super in touch with the whole black conservative movement. I'm just not, right? I know my channel's name is Black Conservative Perspective, but guys, the only reason my channel's name is Black Conservative Perspective is because when I first started this channel, I just wanted to target black people to try to get them to vote Republican or conservative. And I know that when black people look up certain things on the internet, like, they use the word black in front of it, right? I was trying to target a certain group of people. I did not think that this channel would become a just straight up political channel, which is what it's become now, right? Like, I really just talk about hardcore politics, right? I talk about policy. I talk about the culture war stuff too. But, you know, for the most part, I'm just straight talking politics. That's what I like to do. But as my channel started to grow, obviously, I started to reach a large number of people that were from all different types of backgrounds just because of what I was talking about, just because of me talking straight politics. Right. And when I wanted to change my channel name to just my name, the same way that Candace Owens had changed her channel name from Red Pill Black to just Candace Owens, people told me I didn't need to, that the name was fine. So I kept it. Even though I know that it plays into the whole, identity politics thing. Now, one thing I went out of my way to make sure I don't do is try to appeal to any type of stereotypes. I literally just come up here. I just give my opinion on the news and that's it. Right. And I know that even though, I started my channel with the intention of reaching out to black people, I did not want to play into a certain stereotype just to try to get black people. I just realized, like, people just like politics. It doesn't matter, my race is. It's just the fact that I'm just talking politics. And some issues I can speak on, obviously, because I'm black, right? Black issues. But for the most part, my stuff is just straight up politics. And my goal is to help you guys learn, right? To give my opinions and to, grow my channel and grow, my voice up into the point where I'm as big as maybe Ben Shapiro one day. Who knows? I mean, I'm just straight up trying to be a political guy. So I'm ignorant to a lot of the black conservative movement, to be quite honest with you. I really am. So when I saw this panel, I thought it was interesting. And the reason why I actually caught this is because of the fallout from this panel that spilled over into social media, in which I found out that apparently there's a black conservative civil war. Right? Which all these different type of black conservative groups are, kind of going back and forth with each other over, ideological differences. Again, I'm completely unaware of this because I'm just staying in my own lane. I'm just talking politics, right? And some of the fallout from, this stuff was, people calling out other, black conservatives because they're married to white people and stuff like that. And I was like, wow. This is some deep stuff, right? These people really going back and forth, okay? I ain't gonna call no specific names about that, okay? But this panel has an interesting discussion about identity politics, right? Which is basically a forbidden word when it comes to conservative politics, in which they're gonna talk about why is it that, Democrats do a better job at targeting black folks versus conservatives. Okay, and one panelist, Shamika Michelle, what she's saying is kind of controversial because, in my opinion, I think that she is trying to low-key call out certain conservatives like, Candace Owens and others who fit a certain type of stereotype, right? Versus, other conservatives that are not necessarily as promoted as much within the movement. So I'm gonna let you guys listen to what she's saying, and I'll give you guys my thoughts on this, because this is truly a difficult conversation to have, and it's fascinating, which is why I'm talking about it.
I think they've been able to do that by being more inclusive, and I think that's something that we can learn in the conservative party. There's not just one type of black conservative, and I feel like that's where we failed over the last 4 years. We propped up one type of black conservative, and just because white people like them, it was like, oh yeah, we love her. Oh gosh, she has her own thinking, you know. Oh yeah, woo.
Yeah, I think she's talking about Candace Owens. I mean, I could be wrong. I could be 100% wrong, but I can't think of any other person outside of my head that it would be other than her. So if I'm wrong, let me know, but I'll continue.
But that wasn't necessarily who the black people really identify with. And I like to kind of make this analogy. A lot of people are familiar with the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Yeah. Now this is a story all about how my life got flipped, turned upside down. Okay, just say Carlton and Will were both conservatives. Carlton could go to Bel-Air and he could talk to the people of Bel-Air all day long, but you could not send Carlton to Philly to talk to those people. You would have had to send Will to talk to the people who had the same type of life experiences that Will had. So when it comes to conservative, being conservative, stop propping up Carlton Banks thinking that Carlton is going to be the one to be able to communicate with the wheels of the conservative party. You're going to have to prop up the wheels so that they can speak the language that people understand and share experiences with. And I think that's how we feel. I feel like the Democrats do a very good job of making sure they have people that represent all around, and that's what we need to do better as conservatives. You can't take Carlton to Philly going, it's not unusual. No, that's not going to work.
And to
oh man, now I guarantee that was very awkward for a lot of people in that crowd. I know that was very uncomfortable. Okay, because that sounded a lot like, some Democratic talking points in terms of how they deal with people, how they reach out to people. Now, there's multiple different perspectives and takes on this, right? Now, I'll start off with this. I think that when it comes to being conservative, I think one of the things that people are really attracted to when it comes to this movement is the stated values, right? And the substance, right? So when it comes to the values and the substance, you're trying to find people who align with your values and that can understand the substance of what you're saying, okay? Regardless of their background, okay? Obviously, there are all different types of conservatives. Obviously, conservatives that are in the, North versus the South versus the West, all going to be different because they all have different lifestyles. However, what unites them, right, or the conservative movement in general, is the shared set of values and beliefs, right? And I think that when you try to say that you need to, market yourself differently or to try to appeal to a certain group of people, right, in a certain way. For example, it sounds like she's trying to say conservatives need to try to appeal to people in the hood, right? I think you kind of take away from the substance of what you're saying, because then it kind of seems like it's an act, right? It kind of seems like you think that the people that you're targeting may not be able to understand the substance of what you're saying, which honestly is a little offensive, right? Because if the substance of the conservative movement is sound, right, and the values are there, then those people should be able to resonate with the movement regardless of who's delivering the message. Now, I would say that this is something that has already been happening in the movement. I mean, look at Kingface, right? Kingface, he was all about the whole thug conservative thing, right? The whole hood conservative thing. I mean, you got Bryson Gray, who's basically created, rap, right? Conservative rap. You have a lot of channels like Hood Conservative or Hood Servative and all these other channels that have popped up, and these people that have popped up in this movement because of these shared set of values that didn't necessarily require people to take on the whole identity politics strategy that the Democrats have taken on. Okay, and I'm not saying that identity politics doesn't exist in the Republican Party or the conservative movement, because it definitely does, right, to a certain extent. But I think that, you know, when you're talking to an audience like that, when you start to talk like that, I think that that's going to turn a lot of people off. So in regards to this whole conversation about, you know, trying to appeal to, you know, people in the hood or whatever. I mean, on my channel, guys, what I do is that I just come up here and I just be myself, right? I come up here, you know, I give my opinion, right? I don't try to appeal to a certain group of people, right? I just try to say my opinion, right? I try to give my perspective, and that's it. That's it, right? That's it. I mean, you know, and if people resonate with it, they resonate with it. And if they don't, they don't, right? I don't have to try to be a Carlton or to be a Will. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just being myself. And there are plenty of people who are going to be Carltons that are going to be conservative. And hey, you know what? If they get propped up, they get propped up, right? But there are also Wills, right? Like more hood that happen to be conservative that are also popping up, right? Again, King Face was pretty big for a reason. Okay, he was up there. He was up there, right? So I think that what she's saying is something that's not necessarily needed because conservative values are kind of, you know, already something that a lot of people can resonate. Like I tell you guys all the time, like a lot of black people are at their core more conservative. They just don't realize it. And I think that a lot of the reasons why they don't align with conservatism or the Republican Party is truly just because of what they've heard from the Democrats, the fear mongering from the Democrats that, oh, that's a party of racists. Now, has the Republican Party done a great job of dispelling that? Not necessarily. And part of the reason why is because there are elements in the, you know, conservative movement in the Republican Party that me personally, I don't give a damn about, right? But there are a lot of black people that will care about, okay? And the Republican Party / the conservative movement is going to have to deal with that at some point. And the reason why is because I think that that is going to be the key to eventually trying to win over some of these more urban areas, which is going to have to happen if the Republican Party is still going to be viable in elections, specifically national elections. So it does matter because demographics are changing. Migration patterns are favoring liberals moving to more conservative states, which means that they're going to have to be some type of shift at some point. But I think that the easiest way to deal with it is probably to deal with some of the more extreme elements and symbolism that turns a lot of black people off, right? That also is identity politics as well that exists within the Republican Party, whether people want to believe it or not. One thing I don't believe is that the Republican Party should go out of their way to necessarily try to appeal to people by trying to, you know, be hood or, you know, gangster or doing things that are outside of quote unquote conservative values, right? So overall, I think that conservative values speak for themselves, right? And I think that over time, you're going to see as more people start to resonate with conservative values and more people start to get over this whole racism boogeyman, I think a lot more people will definitely start to join the conservative movement like we've seen under President Donald Trump, right? How, you know, you had a ton of so-called minorities, Hispanics, blacks, Asians, you know, all types of people join the movement without necessarily having all the woke language that it seems like she was spitting on that panel, right? I don't think that's needed, right? I think that the left has went so far left on a lot of things that it's turned people off instantly, right? So you're going to have people come into the party without doing all that, okay? So I just look at it like this. Let the substance, let the values speak for themselves. Everything else will fall in line. People that have different identities and from different backgrounds, you know, they'll play that stuff up on their own. It's not something that we need to be consciously thinking about, right? Because it's something that will happen on its own, and it has happened. We've seen it happen. It's happening right now. So I just wanted to weigh in on that. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.